Hey guys, welcome back to Tamriel College Tribune. This is episode 3. We are not doing anything Elder Scrolls Online related this week. Although I'm sure I'll talk about it, and me and my guests have played it before. But tonight I have on my friend Ensomn or Brandon, because I know him in real life. We've actually hung out together. We'll get to that in a second. Thanks for coming on the show, man. I appreciate you, man. It's going to be a little different this week. Brandon does like FPS, like esports. He actually runs an org. But yeah, man, thanks for coming on, dude. I appreciate you.
You're welcome, man. Actually kind of excited.
Yeah, man, I've been wanting to do this for a while. I know me and you talked about this like ages ago. When I talked about starting this podcast, I think you were like the first one. You were like, "Hey, man, I want to come on. We should do something together."
I was waiting for that.
Yeah, dude. No, you really will. You were like, I remember I made the channel into Discord. I think you were the first person. You were like, first, like all caps. But how you doing today, man? So let's get into this. So tell us a little bit about like you come from. Like esports, like is it FPS specifically, or
yeah,
like is it everything? I was gonna say because
it's pretty much everything that has an esports to it.
Okay, so like did you play League? I think you played League, didn't you? You played League for a while, or Dota?
No, I played Call of Duty for a while.
Okay.
Before I even started my own org and the thought behind it, I joined other teams. And I can never really click with that. It's just the scheduling differences and whatnot. Plus I was still in high school at the time. And just stuff like that. And it's like, it really killed me because I was in high school. I really wanted to do this. And for some reason, everybody else in high school could do it, but me.
Oh, really? Why? You just didn't you didn't have the time, or you just didn't what was
it was just me. Like everybody else.
Oh, I got you.
Like back in the day, esports, in my opinion, started coming up around 2013-14 area.
I agree. Like majorly. I agree with you. Yeah, I agree.
And back then it was still brand new. Everybody was like, "Oh, it's not true. It's not true. It's not a real thing." And then once they saw it, they were like, "Dude, you want to do it? Go for it." Nowadays, it's just it's too big. It's like the NFL. You won't get into it. So you have a dream, and it's just trying to make it come true.
Well, yeah, you got to go after that, man. I always said, and especially since I started creating content, I've always said that, if you have an idea, just do that shit, immediately. You can cuss on this, by the way, it doesn't matter. So just do that shit. Do that shit. Just do it, or either that or jot it down and start working towards doing that. I do that with my comedy, man. If I have a joke or something, I write the shit down immediately. I'll go back and explore it later, but just go after it, man. I agree with you. So what progressed you? What made you want to, because you always wanted to do it, but where did that progression come in? Cause you said you wanted to do it in high school. What made you finally just do it? You just said, fuck it. I'm just going to do it.
Basically, so the team of jersey that I'm wearing right now, 100 Thieves.
Yeah. Yep.
They have a YouTube series. It's basically a documentary for their now old Call of Duty team. And basically it was called 0 to 100.
Okay.
Number 0, and then 2, and then 100.
Okay.
Because they were the brand new spanking team out in the league. And it was basically about their story of coming from nothing to what is now. They were second in the world last year.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But I was sitting there watching it, and I've always watched Vision from Optic Gaming, if any of y'all know that. And I just always thought it was cool. I always thought having something like that, a big dream to aspire by, and people role models like them, it always inspired me. And just one day, it was 9:00 at night. I was sitting there watching it. I had just gotten home from work. And I was like, let me see what my fiance at the time said. So I sit there and I text her, and I'm like, "So what do you think of this?" She goes, "If it really makes you happy, then do it. That's all I'm here for you."
Oh, that's a chick that's down there, dude. That's awesome. Yeah.
And even after me and her split up, she was still there for a little while.
Yeah. Is that the one that I met, or was that previous? Okay. Yeah. Okay. I got you.
So yeah, I was laying there one day, and I was like, "Fuck it, let's do it." Text her. I was like, "All right, I'm doing it." So pull out my MacBook, start it up, and I knew how to get players, like how to get into teams, but I never knew how to start one.
So how does that work? How do you? I don't mean to cut you off, but like, so how does that work? How do you like acquire like players?
The
like,
way I did it.
Okay.
We're just straight amateur, so these are all amateur ass players.
Yeah.
But a lot of them have very good potential, and I'm not gonna lie, I was unfortunately not one of them.
Yeah, it's okay.
So I sat there, and basically, when everything started coming up, this organization called MLG, Major League Gaming, had owned basically the competitive rights to Call of Duty.
Weird. How weird. Okay.
And basically, or it wasn't really rights, but they had permission to host like competitive tournaments.
I got you. Yeah.
With it and
all that. They had a draw, and so they got their permission to. Yeah. No, I got you. Yeah, that's interesting.
And they sat there and they created the website MLG.com, and on it they created a online platform for their tournaments.
That's really cool.
Game Battles.
Okay.
It's basically gambling. Is the best way to put it.
I mean, that's okay. Whatever, man. You know what I mean? I mean, you gotta follow the money, right? If there's money there, that's a big draw too. Yeah, no, that's okay.
Basically, you were able to play like free. Like you could sit there and create your team or join a team, and they can play another team as called a scrim, like a scrimmage.
Yeah.
Free for fun. You know, a lot of players did that. But then if you really want to step up into it, you can put bets onto it. So like $5 to $20. And if you win, the other person gets $20. But the whole point of the game battles, was to get into the open tournaments.
Okay.
So basically, your team, you would play on their tournament brackets, and play one-on-one to collect what they called COD points. And their COD points were basically whoever you reached a certain amount, you qualified for the open tournament, which was a LAN event. So you basically you fly to a city, you sit there and you play. And that is what we were doing for a long while. But at the start of it, it was in the middle of a season. We couldn't really do too much, so we were just playing to get practice and get team chemistry going.
Okay.
And then they pushed for we were about to go to a LAN tournament, probably the last amateur LAN tournament of this Call of Duty, here last month. But a couple things fell through. One of my players is a teacher at a high school, so we weren't able to.
That sucks, man. That's one of those things that, like, dude, that's sometimes, man, that's one of those things in life. Like, I'm a little older than you, but I'm not that much older than you. And but that's one of those things in life, man. Those are some of those opportunities sometimes, man, that you got to jump at. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just upside down your whole life, but sometimes you have to. You know what I mean? I don't know, man. Yeah, that's tough, dude. That's tough, man.
But it was also the fact that they also took into consideration of me being the owner. I sat there and I was like, look, if you want to go do this, then y'all as a team, go do it. I'm not stopping you. But personally, I would not let y'all go unless y'all had the jerseys. I don't want my team going in there looking like
Well, you can't look like you're coming in out of a bar or some shit. Yeah, no, that's not this. Yeah, it's a business, right? Like, you don't, like the Philadelphia Eagles don't go play in like their pajamas. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree. But no, what were we saying? I'm sorry, I mean.
Oh no, you're good. But yeah, I mean, we started out with Call of Duty, because I knew the most about Call of Duty.
Okay.
That's the one esport I knew that I could sit there and I could progress in with this, and we started from there. So I reached out on Game Battles. On Game Battles, you're able to basically either go to select your open recruiting teams, or you could sit there and look at free agent players. Free agent, just like NFL or NBA, they're open to contracts or whatnot. But in Game Battles, you weren't really allowed to do contracts. So I sit there and I look at their stats and everything, and what gun, like basically on this website, you could create your whole basically whatchamacallit? What's it called? Resume.
Yeah. Okay, so, I got you.
Yeah. So you can create a whole resume basically based on all this.
That's so interesting, man. Like, I don't come from this world, right? Like, I game, but I don't come from this world. So like, this is all new to me, dude. This is so interesting, man.
So basically, I sit there and I look at the free agents, and I basically take their gamer tags. I go into PlayStation, because PlayStation is the leading console for Call of Duty right now in competitive.
Why? Why? Is it just more bodies or is it just performance? Like
It's
why?
performance. It's
Okay.
because when the Xbox 360 was at its prime,
Uh-huh.
it was the best gaming console out there.
I love that goddamn thing so much.
Then they played one season when Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, I think it's called, came out,
hmm
and on the Xbox One. And that whole season they were screwed. The Bluetooth between the controllers were messing up. The lack consistency between the LAN events were messing up because of the Xbox Ones. So they went over. Sony and PlayStation came over and were like, "Look, our PS4, it's obviously a lot better. So let's use these."
hmm
So they came out and used them. They were the first console to come out with 4K graphics and all this kind of stuff.
That's interesting. Yeah, you're right.
Bluetooth was a lot better. So
Now, is this pre like PlayStation Pro or whatever the hell it is? Like
this is when the
okay,
port just came out.
okay, got you. Okay, yeah, because I'm sure that now with a new Xbox, I'm sure like it probably it's the gap. Is it really still bad? That's interesting.
It's still pretty bad.
Huh.
That's why a lot of the competitive players on the Xbox side use wired controllers.
Huh. Now I wonder, like, so when you go to enter like these tournaments, do they separate like yeah, I guess they would separate like PS4 and Xbox. That's so interesting.
Those would be two different brackets.
Yeah. Interesting.
But on this new Call of Duty coming out, they haven't released anything on it yet, on anything competitive yet.
Yeah.
They haven't released if it's 4v4 or 5v5. They haven't released if the because they just franchise the league, which screws us a lot.
Interesting.
Because basically franchising is like you're basically like an NFL team. You have a city and a state you represent, and you play like your org has basically bought the spot for that city and state, and you play representing that city and state plus the org.
Huh. Okay, yeah, I'm following. All right.
But basically, yeah, I sat there and contacted them all through PlayStation, and most of them got back to me within like a couple hours. And they were like, "Yeah, sure, man. Let's talk in a PSN chat and everything. We can get the details down and everything." So I group all them together and everything, and we talk. And basically, those first 5 players were secured. And then the first player I actually ever messaged, he was head on to do it. He was really, really head on. He was helping me out a lot. And then he was also basically his real life job was a legal consultant, so he knew how to make contracts and whatnot.
Oh, that's cool.
So, yeah. So I asked him, I was like, "Look, if we're going to be serious about this, we need to start thinking about contracts." And he was like, "I totally agree with you." So I was like, "All right, so you know how to make contracts, you know the legal stuff. I'm going to leave that one to you. You're my best bet right now, and I don't know what I'm doing with legal stuff. I'm trying to make sure everything is good, set in stone, and you're the ones to just follow it." He goes, "Yeah, man, I got you, no worries." So he, basically writes up a draft contract and everything, sends it to me, and I read it over, and it's like, "Yeah, it seems fine to me. I don't see any problem with it." And he goes, "All right, then I'll send it to the team." Basically, only two people signed it, and the others were like, "No, we're not signing it. I don't feel comfortable doing this."
Huh. So the legal contract, what does that bind them to? Like, because does that bind them to you, like for a term, or is it like, here's a contract, we split winnings this way or whatever? Like, how does that work?
Both.
Okay.
Basically, you sit there, and if you sign it, it says that if you decide to leave the team, you cannot play with another team for a week, at least a week. So
okay.
Have time to switch up our strats and everything, so that way you
that's fair enough. Okay.
And know all our strats and basically demolish us in scrims or in tournaments.
Yeah, got it. Okay.
Also, it binds and says that all your profits from your stream we collect 5% of, because our name is on your name.
Yeah. That's like not like a licensing thing, but sort of. Yeah. I got you. Okay. Yeah.
And then,
sure enough,
all tournament winnings, we collect 10% of it, and then the rest of it is split evenly between the players.
Got it. You know what's funny as you're talking about this? I listened to a podcast recently, and they talked about, who was the big one? Was it Tfue or whatever? Or did he leave? Or he left?
That's just a whole drama situation.
Yeah, or like he left whatever organization he was in, and then like, but they were talking about that. I guess how like the contract that he had was probably like really bad or something. You know what I mean? Like
with that, I read up on that, and I, being a Lobby esports player and an organization owner.
Well, I'm a complete like what's it like layman? Yeah, layman. You know what I mean? Like I don't know anything. So,
but basically between that, so the owners and the corporate side of FaZe basically were pushing to have him on the team, on the Fortnite team, and the Fortnite players were like, "No, we don't want him. We know who he is, but he's not who we want on our team."
Fair enough.
And he was like, "Come on, dude, I just want you to give him a chance. You know, I understand that you don't want him, but I think he will be like a really good asset to the team and whatnot." And then they're like, "Fine. You know, his name was Banks, and Banks.
Yeah.
They're like, "Fine, Banks. We'll do it. We'll try it." So they do it, and they actually really hit off at first. So for a while they were doing good, and basically it had gotten to the point where he basically just got up, left LA, went back to Florida, and never came back. Never logged on to PC to practice, and they started texting him and everything. Next thing you know, they get a letter in the mail saying they are being sued.
Whoa!
Wow! 20. I want to say, and they were...
Yeah, they're all young. They're all young guys, yeah.
Well, yeah, but he specifically was 20. The rest of them were like 25, 26 years old.
Yeah.
And basically, they were going to parties and whatnot, consulting underage, like, allegedly consulting underage drinking, and stuff like that.
That shit's all pretty harmless, though. You know what I mean? I mean, honestly,
it's
like...
not serious, but it's serious at the same time. When
it's a business. Yeah, you can't be like...
For the name of it, yeah.
Yeah, it would be the same thing if like for anyone who doesn't understand, maybe it would basically be like if I was underage, which I'm not, I'm old as shit. But it'd be like if I wore my work uniform and someone got me on video like getting trashed.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, essentially. It's like okay. Like what you're doing is relatively harmless, but you're representing us while you're doing it. So like, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, it had been like he had been on that team and that organization for, I want to say, about 6 months, and they had created such a Banks, the owner, or one of the owners, and Tfue had created such a big like brotherly bond that Banks and Tfue both went out and got, because you know how Fortnite has creator codes. And they both went out and got tattooed on them, use code Tfue for 5% off on your codes.
No.
Yeah.
Oh no. I have a lot of tattoos. Don't do that, folks.
But speaking about tattoos, and that leads up to like basically what Optic's going through. Optic is, so the owner of Optic and his like best content creators had all left the organization. And Hector, the owner, has Optic tattooed on his arm right here.
Yeah.
But he said, even though he left the org, that is still a big portion of his life that he is so happy about.
Yeah, of course, dude. Of course, dude. I don't talk to my dad. I'm working on that, but me and my dad don't talk at all. We haven't talked in years, probably 2-3 years. And he owned a motorcycle shop, and like I spent a lot of time, man. You know, like I spent a lot of time like around the motorcycle shop, and you know what I mean. And like that was sort of the culture I grew up around. And I have it tattooed on my shoulder. You can see it. I don't know if you guys can see it on the stream, but like for the audio listeners, you won't be able to see it. But yeah, I have a tattoo on my shoulder. And I mean that's my dad's motorcycle shop, you know, and it's like, but you know, I don't regret getting that tattoo, right? Like, you know, but yeah, I'm with you on it basically.
Yeah. So anyways, back to
yeah.
So basically, I haven't told you this because this all happened within a week, like this past week. That's what I'm about to tell you. And a lot of people don't know about it. I had tweeted about it once, being very vague on the situation, but it comes to the point where I'm not going to be closed circuit with my community.
Well, pour one out for the homies, man. Tell us what's up.
Basically, my second in command, I'm not going to name names. Okay.
No. It's never good.
But basically it had gotten to the point where he was doing so much for me on his end, and I was doing so much on my end that I basically said, all right, I need you to do me a favor while you're making contracts. I need you to make a contract for me and you, me being owner, you being co-owner. He goes, well, here, I'll make you even better one. You can become president, and I'll be vice president. And I was like, all right, good enough. And I personally think he took that over his head. He started making decisions without consulting me. He started trying to get sponsorships, trying to sign people that I did not feel that should be on my org. And then basically at the end of this Call of Duty season, I was receiving no updates on the team. I was receiving nothing, and I'm sitting there trying to contact him, sending him updates on everything, because we're trying to push hard for a company to make our jerseys.
And yeah, I remember that. I talked to you about that. Yeah.
Basically, he gave me his own personal money to help out with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sending him the receipt, the order confirmation stuff, in the emails and everything, so that way he knows I didn't put that money to fucking waste.
Yeah.
And basically, I had received no contact from him within 3 months. And then in our Discord, we have a Discord for the org.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, because we had 2 Call of Duty teams, we had a practice team and an A team. The A team was the one who was supposed to go to the tournaments and whatnot.
I got you.
And basically, one of the A team members posted up in the Discord and was like, "Hey, seeing that so and so is gone, what are y'all doing?" And I posted back. I was like, "Hold up, he's gone? Like he left?" And he goes, "Let me call you." So we get in a Discord call, and he basically explains that he left the organization, and I was never informed.
Damn. And this guy's under contract.
I never signed my contract.
He okay.
The contract.
Okay.
Never signed the contract.
Damn, that's crazy.
I'm honestly, at that point, glad.
Yeah.
Because that would have fucked us.
Yeah, you could cut clean loss without a contract, I suppose. It goes both ways, basically. Yeah. Damn, that's crazy.
And I was distraught. I was like, well, this totally screws everything. He was like, dude, we thought you left too because we hadn't heard anything from you and all this. And I was like, no, I've been in the dark. I haven't known what was going on. And he was like, well, he basically goes, so this is what's been going on the last 3 months. Lays it out for me. And I was like, what the fuck?
That's crazy.
And I looked at him and I was like, I was never informed of any of it. And he goes, well, I'm telling you now. And I was like, I was sitting there and I was like, I was stressed out to the point where I got a little angry.
Yeah, well, you know what's good about this though is you're young and you learn from things like this.
Yeah.
I could tell you, been through a lot of pain in my life, and we were talking about it before stream, and I won't get into it again. But as a content creator, I've only been actually creating content for like a year, but I've been through some of these moments already where it's just like, yeah.
But because of basically the owner standpoint of this esports org, I gave up streaming, I gave up YouTube, I gave up a lot of stuff. And at this point, we're trying to figure, like, we're still waiting to hear if it's 5v5 or 4v4. Like that's our biggest thing. And then basically our B team is acting like their A team now because they still have X amount of players, and our A team, basically a couple people left. And that's one of the things I never knew about, because they had basically a private text message group chat. And that's where all the stuff went down. And I was like, this is why I created the Discord. So that way I always had I could always relay back to that information.
Oh yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah. And the fact that I was never posted up in there, like I want to say like one player posted up in that he was leaving for another org. And I was like, thank you for letting us know. I totally respect that. And it just
well, I'm sure orgs talk too. I'm sure that goes a long way too. Like if he was trying to get on another org, you know, I'd imagine like burning the bridge from your last one's probably not a good idea, because you can put on your resume or whatever, like, hey, I was part of this org, and then, you know, and they could contact you and you can say, hey, you know, they were cool, or you know, or they were this and this. Yeah, like
the position he took, he told us the position and what org he left us for. I'm not going to name names or anything.
No.
The position he took over there was basically a scouter. So he went out and found players for their teams and whatnot. So cool. I mean, I think that's pretty cool and everything.
Yeah.
But he was a player for us and went over to that. So it's what he wanted.
Yeah.
I'm not going to burn him for it.
No. Yeah. But yeah, dude, that's crazy. And I can't imagine like that person leaving like that, like you, because like it's a team thing, and so like that's a piece of your team leaving, right? That would be that would be like Alshon Jeffrey just not coming in to work for the Eagles. I'm a big Eagles fan, if you couldn't tell. But like, but yeah, or for people who like hockey, that would be like Yzerman being like, "Fuck it, I quit." You know what I mean? Like what? You what? You know what I mean? Like you what? That's wild, dude.
I sat there and I was like, "Well, this is what we're gonna do." Here, I gave the dude that told me all this. I was like, "Look, I'm now giving you captain over the team. You do what you need to do. If there's any problem, let me know, and I will step in with my authoritative action and say you either need to do this or you're off the team."
Yeah.
But we basically our only active team is Call of Duty. We've tried recruiting for others, but because the scene for it is not as big as Call of Duty is, where you have websites you can go look for and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's
well,
what
about Counter-Strike? Isn't that like or is that on its way out?
I don't personally like Counter-Strike. I've played it.
Okay.
You know, I've played it with my old stream team and whatnot.
Yeah. Why don't you like it? It's not your thing.
It's just not my thing. It's not.
That's cool.
I'll play it if I'm bored. Like that's
yeah.
But most of my favorite ones, like I'm just now getting into Overwatch, and Overwatch has one of the biggest competitive scenes in the world.
I was gonna say, yeah, there's like them and League of Legends. I think are like the top two. Oh, well, they're up there.
League of Legends, Call of Duty, and
as far as money goes,
Overwatch are the top three biggest.
Yeah, they have the goddamn tournaments and stadiums, for Christ's sake. Yeah, like Jesus Christ. There's there's bands that I've liked for like 20 years who don't even pull that kind of crowd. You know what I mean? Like that's crazy. Like, that's actually weird. Like, I'm really into like a lot of like online content. It's really funny when you actually look at the numbers between like old media, and like new media, and like you'll look at like you'll have somebody like Colbert, right, who's like literally on TV, and he won't even pull the numbers. Like Joe Rogan has more viewers and listeners for one of his podcasts than Colbert does for one of his TV shows. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like that's very strange to think about, right? Like that it's like Joe Rogan's like one dude.
Yeah.
Right? Like he has a corporation, like he, and they run a business, but like it's just him. You understand what I'm saying? Like it's very weird. Like we're kind of living in the upside down as far as like you'll have more people show up to an Overwatch tournament than like an NFL game.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy. Like that's really wild to think about, man. But that's why it's an e-sport. That's why it's a sport. Yeah. But it's just crazy. Like,
but like sponsors and everything for it work the same as like streamers. So basically you sit there and you apply for an application, which is crazy because I personally am an affiliate of Razer.
They have a really good affiliate program, actually.
Yeah, they do. But basically when 2020 comes around, my affiliate rank is stripped because it started the new year and whatnot. So it's by year-to-year basis because of the program I use with them. So basically, we tried to apply as an org for Razer, at least for an affiliate, and they wouldn't let us, unfortunately. We've tried big names like Corsair.
Corsair, dude, everything they make is awesome.
I hope Razer doesn't watch this shit because I'm gonna get ranked. I have my Razer keyboard. My was it Black Widow, Death Adder, one of the two? Yeah. Black Widow Ultimate. I have that. I love the keyboard to death. And then I have my Corsair mouse. Mouse.
I have a Death Adder. I have a Death Adder mouse, and I have a Razer. You guys, I have that Razer Kraken, the green headset. Like that's like the same one PewDiePie had, like the V2 or whatever. But
I had the I forget which one it is, but it's the Razer mouse with the 12 buttons on the side.
That's the one that I have. That's the one that I have.
I had that one, but it basically the like laser pointer on it that like helps it move and whatnot took shit. Like
the optic on it, basically. Yeah. Yep.
So I had to go get a new one, and I was up at Walmart one day, and this one's cheap as hell, and it's kind of like what I need for WoW. So I just got it.
Okay.
Because WoW, I was really getting into PvP on WoW for a while, and I was able to join for the org because WoW is also one of the biggest competitive scenes out there, and it's easy to get into.
So do you play SWTOR? Does that have a competitive seen it all?
Unfortunately, it does not.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because you always talk about that, man. Every time I talk to this man, guys, he's like, "Yo, let me tell you about this SWTOR shit, son." And I'm like, "Oh man, tell me about that SWTOR shit."
This
Man.
was drama. I'm not even gonna lie. So I'll tell you about that one too on
Yeah.
this podcast. So
Yeah.
2 years ago, I had joined, or 2 years, about to be 3 years. I had joined a guild.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really big into RP on SWTOR,
Mm-hmm.
and in that time, I had joined a guild called the Jedi Order. We basically RP'd as the Jedi Order. They were very, very, very
cool.
structured. They were very. It was basically one of the best guilds, I will personally say.
Mm-hmm.
Little did you know, there was a lot of shit they were hiding.
What do you
So
mean?
basically, I worked my way up the ranks and everything, RP wise, and I worked up, and I became a Jedi Knight and everything. As soon as I became a Jedi Knight, they looked for a reason to kick me. And in their guild, they were sanctioned by schools, which were the classes. So you had your Jedi Guardian, your Jedi Sentinel, your Jedi Shadow, or as they called it, Mystic, because the word Shadow seems a little dark side, so they had to change the name.
Okay,
And
fair
you
enough.
had your Jedi Sage.
Okay.
And I was a Guardian at the time. And the Guardian school and the Mystic schools were basically the two powerhouses of that guild. They created either content or PvE content or something along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
But the Mystic School, basically, in our opinion, are, because this was the whole Guardian School we're talking about, which was the majority of the guild, like a good 20 plus players, were basically they felt that they were basically getting jealous because we were creating really good content and they couldn't create shit. And basically, it got to the point where they were basically kicking people for no reason, and it was only one person too, and the name we call this person, I will not say on your podcast because it is very, very harsh.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Maybe off podcast, I'll tell you what we call her.
Yeah, fair enough.
It is a her. But
fair enough.
She did very, very inappropriate and very alleged things. And at the time, they were just alleged. We had no proof. Until one day, it was, quote unquote, accidentally sent to the Guardian School headmaster. And he had received a certain type of picture on Facebook, out of all things.
I know where you're headed. Okay, yep.
And he was like, "What the fuck is this?" And she goes, "Oops, that wasn't for you." With a winky face.
Oh no! She tried to like. I would have been like, "Oh, I'm so yeah." I would have been like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. You saw my like titty or whatever, my balls." Like, not like, "Oh, what? You saw my balls?" Winky face. Like, what? No, you don't winky face that. What?
It was.
Oh man.
A fuck show in that.
You know what I would have responded to that? I'm not married, but I would have said, "Hold on, let me show my wife this and see if the winky face excuses it." Let me go winky face show this to my wife real quick. Wink. Like, what? No.
Yeah.
No, that's awful.
So then basically our school, basically we had basically a Facebook chat. They had two Facebook chats. They had one for council, and then they had the one for the junior leadership and leadership in the guild for us in our school. Basically, anything that was reported of anything like that was posted in those chats and whatnot. And then again, those chats were related to basically just bullshitting around and whatnot. We always joked around in those chats and whatnot, sending each other memes and whatnot. So then basically that kept going on. Then apparently that guild was a very strict no ERP guild, but in the low, there was ERP going on between the fucking council, out of all people.
This shit's harmless. It's electronic fucking, right? Like, it's pretty harmless. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, that's like, whatever.
ERP stands for exotic roleplay, if y'all don't know.
Yeah.
Or exotic or erotic, depending on how you want to use it.
Yeah, you can actually get banned. You can actually get banned for ESO for messing with those people. Well, I'll tell you that story in a second. Yeah, I'll tell you in a second.
Yeah. So basically, we had several basically RP events and whatnot, and I created basically a raid group within the guild because I wanted to learn how to do the raids in the guild, and all of us there wanted to learn. So we basically formed this 8-man raid group to go do these raids. And council got really pissed off because we were taking the attraction from the main raid group, because the main raid group was for the council members, and it was very selfish of them. and whatnot. But they called us selfish for having basically because they have had this ops group, what they called it operations, but they had this raid group since the game launched in this guild, and
Damn.
this game launched in like 2013.
I was gonna say, yeah.
And this group had been raiding for that long, and nobody wanted to fucking join them. But the second I start up my raid group, everybody wants to join.
That's funny.
Got pissed, dude. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, well, I'm sorry, but I'm following the rules you gave me to start this group. I'm following the rules that you told me to follow by. And they were like, we understand that, but we think it's for the best interest that you drop your raid group. And I look at them and I was like, who's they? Is it you and a couple other people, or is it you and the whole council? And she goes, it doesn't matter. And I was like, okay, I'll talk to my, my sub seats and my council members and see what they say.
That seems like a little like self-serious.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
I talked to them and they go, dude, you're perfectly fine. Just keep going with it. Don't listen to her. And it basically got to the point where I kept going. We did it Tuesday nights. I even streamed them. I recorded a couple of them. I posted them on YouTube. And basically had gotten to the point where they were like, you need to disband your ops group or we are kicking you from the guild. And I was like, excuse me? And then I go and talk to one of my school's council members, and he was like, yeah, there's a forum post about it. They're making alleged, like, saying that you're stealing people from their ops group and whatnot. And I was like, I'm not, but I'm no longer about this drama, so what the fuck ever, I'll just drop it.
Yeah, cut it out. We were just talking about that before stream.
Yeah.
I don't do drama.
I dropped it. I basically had to come up with some fucking random thing to do on Tuesday nights now. And I think that's when I started getting into ESO on PC. I've played ESO since it fucking came out on PS4.
Yeah.
So yeah, I sit there and I'm basically what had happened. I had just became knighted at that point and taking my first Padawan. Apparently, the Padawan I chose had very weird remarks in the guild or whatnot. Basically, they were looking for a reason to make me feel unwanted in the guild, so that way I would G quit.
What?
And it was only the Mystic School too, because they were mad that the Guardian School was basically going to appoint me fucking council if any of them stepped down at some point. Because it was only me and a couple others that were actually in the guild leading and whatnot, and I was one of the options at the time. Now at the time, don't get me wrong, was a little childish. I made childish remarks. I was a little bit younger.
Well, yeah, I would say you're still young.
Yeah.
Like.
But then, yeah, basically it got to the point where they were just like, I got to the point with it where I was like, I'm fucking done. I'm going to stay in the guild. I'm going to still keep my role. And if they ever need me, I'll come and hop on, but I'm going to create my own guild. And I want to create my own guild. It was on the Sith side. It was a Sith RP guild. And they were basically like, oh, we see that you started another guild. And I was like, how do you know this? And they're like, it doesn't matter. So basically they were like, we're going to have to ask you to leave because of that. And I was like, okay, whatever.
Catch me outside, bitch.
Basically, I left that guild. And then I never started up my new one. And then I came to ESO and I played with you for, 3-4 months?
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to be honest with you though. When you came to ESO, the game was in good shape. And it's not necessarily like, as far as like them shifting the landscape with the meta, like it's a really hard time. Like if you come into the game now, like you're in good shape because the meta's changing, right? But like if you came into the game like a couple months ago, you're probably throwing your hands in the air like, what? What? Like,
so basically, I left SWTOR and went to go play ESO February of this year. And I always mark these kind of dates because I like to throw it in people's faces. That's my personal thing.
Yeah, that's all right.
And then basically I was really thinking about coming back to that guild. I was going to ask to come back, see what I needed to do.
I remember you talking about that. Yeah.
And I get in contact with one of my friends from that guild that I had on Facebook. And she goes, don't. And I was like, no, like they'll deny me, or no, like don't. She goes, there's a lot of stuff going on. And basically, if it keeps going on, I'm leaving and creating another guild. And I told her, I was like, count me in. I was like, count me in. And she goes, oh, and you know too that if I leave, half the guild leaves too. And I was like, yeah, because
Damn.
everybody followed you. You were basically that one knight in the guild that everybody looked up to.
Damn.
And so basically, I laid low for a while. I went to the stream team, played Apex and CSGO, whatnot with him. Let's see, I did WoW for a little bit. I went back and forth from ESO with you. In that time, I did that 12-hour stream. That shit killed me.
Dude, I won't
schedule for a week.
Dude, I won't do. We were just talking. I don't know if you were in stream the other night. My stream, we were talking about. We were talking about this before I met you. It was long before I met you. I did my one and only 24-hour stream.
Yeah,
and Are you sure?
Yeah,
because I remember. Dude, I hallucinated. Because I essentially worked a full day and then started the 24-hour stream.
Yeah.
And we were talking about this on my stream the other night, that it's not necessarily the stream that is the stress. It's the fact that you have to take like 8 or 10 hours before the stream and rest and do nothing. And then the fact that you have to have essentially almost like a whole 24 hours after a 24-hour stream to let your body like just catch up. Yeah, dude,
fucked me. I sat there and I went to work that day. And I came home, and my stream team partner was my manager. Cool dude, was cool as shit. But they killed him the same way. He got off. I was able to pull it through that 12-hour stream.
Yep.
So my community was good. I gained like 12 followers off of that, and I was pretty proud for being a non-affiliate streamer.
Yeah,
that was really good for me.
That's awesome.
And they followed him too. He was streaming at the same time as I. So we both got a good following from that. But yeah, they we got off at like 8. I got home around 9. He lived up by the job. So he got home literally as he got off. And we got on, and basically we joked around thinking, okay, what are we going to do real quick before we start? And he was like, okay, we're going to do Apex at this point, then switch it up a little bit to maybe some Minecraft later, and then go back to Apex and whatnot. So we're like, okay, we got this. So we go on, 9 was about, I want to say about 10 o'clock we start. So we start at 10 and we're going. 11 o'clock, we're good. 12, we're good. 1, we're good. 2 o'clock is when he starts getting tired. And I'm like, nah, dude, come on, keep going. And basically this one dude joins both of our, because we had a multi stream.
Yeah.
And he joined our multi, and he was like, dude, let me play with y'all. I got y'all. So we had a third, and Apex only does 3s. So we had a third with us. So it was 3 of us going. We let him hop in our Discord with us, and we were all playing. So that kept us going for another like 2-3 hours. And then my stream team partner, Crispy, got off. And then it was just me and the other dude for a couple more matches, and he got off. And I was like, well, it's 4 a.m. I started at 10 and he go for another, 8 hours? Or like 6. So I was like, what the fuck to do? So I sit there, I jump on ESO, I go and do dungeons, I do dailies, I do my pledges, whatnot.
Yeah.
And then 9 o'clock rolls around. Miss Ray starts streaming. Miss Ray, cool girl. She doesn't really stream that much anymore.
Yeah. I know who. We all know Miss Ray. She's cool people.
Yeah. So basically, literally, 9:59 rolled around. I'm sitting there, like, dozing off while streaming. And I got my moderator in chat going, go to bed. Go to bed.
Man, that sounds so familiar.
And he's like, no, dude, I'm telling you, go to bed right now. I will come. I will figure out where you live, and I will shut off your stream.
That's crazy. Yeah, dude. I'm telling you, man, I hallucinated. I was like falling asleep, hit my head on my desk.
Yeah. So basically, Miss Ray had started streaming, and I was like, 10 rolled around. And I was like, all right, we did it. 12-hour stream is done. Got no money off of it, so it went to no charity. The whole point of the stream was to go to charity.
Yeah.
And then I was like, all right, I'm handing y'all over to Miss Ray. Y'all have a good night. I sit there and send it over to Miss Ray. Had a stream of like 10 people. Consecutively through the night. I was surprised. And we get over there, and she goes, all right, I guess I'm going to log off for the day.
Oh, man.
No, I just sent you my stream.
Yeah, dude, that's such a struggle, man. I hate that. Like when Like that's the worst, man. When somebody raids
Yeah.
you like at liter, and I'm like, oh no. I guess
You know how many
I'll
times I did that to you?
yeah. Oh, dude, I know. And I'm like, man, I'll just stream for another half an hour or whatever. Yeah, it's that suck. Like, cause you don't like it. You logging out like when someone raids you, like I haven't met anyone who would think it's rude, right? But it's just one of those things. You're like, shit,
Yeah.
shit.
So yeah, then I had to bed that night or that day. I slept the whole day. I had 3 missed calls from work because they wanted me to come in, and I was just dead asleep. Manager came in, he's sitting there blowing up my phone, and then I'm just like, nah, I'm asleep. My fiance, we worked at the same job at that point, and she like kept calling me and everything. At that point, it was like 7 o'clock in the afternoon. I had just woken up, and I haven't even looked at my phone. My phone was still sitting on my nightstand at that point. And she walks through the door. She goes, "Why the fuck can't you answer your phone?" And I was like, oh, because I just woke up. She goes, "You did what now?" And I was like, "Yeah, me and Christian, we streamed all night." And she goes, "You did what now?" I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, I'm just gonna go to my mom's."
No.
I was like, okay. Because at that point she was living with her dad, but she hadn't moved in with me yet.
Yeah.
And she was like just going between the 3 houses, and I was like, oh, okay, go do you. Don't be mad at me. And I sat there, ate and everything. I took a shower, went over to her, and she's like, "I'm mad at you," and I'm like, "I know, I'm sorry." It was a very eventful night.
Oh, that's
Also,
funny.
within that stream, I almost messed up the stream schedule, but my computer overheated because I had my vents
Oh,
closed in my room, so it was a good 90 degrees in my
oh
old
my
office space down the hall.
God.
And my computer overheated, and I was like, no, like I was like, for some reason my Discord was still connected, my headphones were still connected, but I could not hear anyone. So they're here, I'm watching Crispy stream on my phone, trying to make sure everything's good, and apparently I stayed connected to the stream, I stayed in Discord, it's just my computer overheated. So I'm sitting there
Oh,
and they're
that's
hearing me
so
scream,
funny.
no, no. It
Oh
was
no.
I've had some pretty good stream memories for as little as I
Oh
am.
my God, dude. I accidentally recorded actually well this wasn't on stream. This was a recording, like a YouTube recording, but
Yeah.
my neighbor, I think I've told you the story. My neighbor got a was trying to get a job at like a government agency,
Mm-hmm.
and so he needed a security clearance, and so I'm like experienced with this kind of thing. I was in the Navy, had a clearance. So like what they do is
Yeah.
they will literally interview everyone. Like they will literally interview like your first grade teachers. Like they talk to everyone. So like I get a knock on the door and I'm in the middle of recording. I think it was like a Resident Evil playthrough or something on my YouTube. And I get a knock on the door and I forgot to stop the recording. So I just got up and walked over and I essentially recorded that entire interview he did with me about my neighbor on accident. And I have it recorded still somewhere. But yeah, that's really funny. I didn't realize until afterwards I went to edit the video and I was like, oh. I was like, yeah, I know. And I actually thought about it and I was like, should I call this guy and like let him know that I inadvertently like recorded it? I never published it or whatever. I just edited it out in post. But I was just like,
That's wow.
that's awkward. You know, I mean, it wasn't anything. You know what I mean? We talked about like, oh, you know, does your neighbor like, is your neighbor Jeffrey Dahmer? And you know what I mean? And like, does your neighbor like have like drugs in that? Is he cook meth? You know what I mean? Like very obvious questions, right?
Yeah.
It's like, no, he doesn't. But like, it's still funny because like, there's like privacy laws and stuff, and you have to like tell people you're recording them, right? Like it will. I was like, oh no, oops.
Yeah. So yeah, man. So then, come, I want to say either June or July. This just past June or July. Um, I get a call. I get a text from one of the old guys in the guild because me and him, best fucking friends. I mean it. We're exactly the same. We like the same things.
Mhm.
We met in that guild too. So I had his personal number. I had his address because I've mailed him things before for esports. He's mailed some stuff back. You know, all different kinds of stuff like that.
Mhm.
Um, and he gets a text from me. He goes, "So are you gonna join so and so's new guild?" And I was like, "They started it?"
Oh
And he was like, "Yeah."
man.
So I'm at Kroger at the time, and I literally get in the car, whip back home, and I get in, and I'm sitting there, and I'm pushing call on Discord trying to get a hold of this guy, and he finally picks up. He goes, "What the fuck do you want? I'm at work." And I'm like,
Oh.
and I was like, "I don't give a shit. You started this new guild and didn't tell me." He goes, "Oh, yeah, you want an invite?" And I was like, obviously.
Oh man. Oh man. That person sounds kind of dumb.
No,
I mean,
it's just probably
I
a
mean, no, no,
piece
no,
of
no. I
shit.
mean, no. I mean, like that person just sounds kind of dumb. As in, like I have friends of mine who are just like oblivious. Like one of my coworkers is like one of those people who, he like. I'm sure you know people like this. Like they'll do something really dumb, but they're really sincerely like oblivious to the fact that they've done something stupid.
Yeah,
I'm
pretty much.
like, yeah. I'm like, oh man, did you like forget to go do this? And he's like, oh, it's like, yeah, I did. And it's like, Jesus Christ, I wish I could live in I wish I could live in a world like that in my head where it's just like, okay, I'm gonna go do this thing. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, it's like, it's like Eeyore from like Winnie the Pooh. He's just like, okay, okay, guys. You know what I mean? Like, okay, cool. I'm way too high strung for that. I'm like, you did what? Shit! And they're like, oh, okay. That's funny, man.
So he invites me, and then one night in the guild, it was like a week after I joined. We were all sitting in Discord. So I was like, "So why did all y'all leave?" And that's when everything came out. The real reason I was kicked was because they didn't want to see me on leadership. The real reason that all this stuff was going down was because they were basically, we had this other chick in our guardian school,
Mm-hmm.
and she's military,
Mm-hmm.
and basically that's how she was raised, that's how she grew up, and that's what she does for a living.
Mm-hmm.
And she used the skills she learned, the people skills she learned in the military, brought it over to the game and worked her way up. And those skills were get to know somebody, know their weakness, and burn them and take their spot.
Yeah, that's not necessarily a military thing. That's just like a savage ass motherfucker thing. You know what I mean? Like,
So
that's
basically,
crazy.
yeah. So basically, when they became knighted in that guild, they had several RP events with their master after knighthood. And basically, she selectively screenshotted certain ones, certain chat conversations. Selectively is the word to be used. And this other guy
Hmm.
recorded the whole thing. So he could pull anything
Hmm.
at that moment. Every RP situation he did, he pressed record. Because that's how he is. He made sure he had backup just in case anything ever happened.
Mm-hmm.
And she selectively screenshots certain things from the chat log. She selectively, says certain things. She selectively does certain things. And basically got this dude kicked. And at that point, the dude was like, it's whatever. I'll leave.
Yeah, yeah.
Then they,
I protect myself like that now. I'll
yeah,
I that that person we talked about off stream burned me pretty bad. It's funny because we had a meeting and that person like specifically went through like how to like bot views and like all these things that they were encouraging, and it's like, I've never done any of that stuff and I won't. I think it's gross, but like it's one of those things I'm like, damn, I kind of wish I'd recorded that. Like, I don't know, like you shouldn't like, you don't want to ruin people, yeah, like expose people and ruin people, but it's like one of those things that's like, man, it's one of those things where like, man, all these people think this person's like a fucking nice person and they're not. They're like a scumbag. But I don't know, like you gotta, like you can't live in that kind of headspace either. Like I always say that on my stream, like you don't live in that negative headspace, so like, whatever. You know what I mean? It doesn't really
yeah.
matter or whatever. But yeah, that's funny.
But yeah, so I find that out. I find out that when also they did that, because that situation happened when I was still in the guild. And then I find out that she did the same thing with the council. She selectively screenshotted certain things with the headmaster, and basically the headmaster was told, you need to step down by the other council members.
That's crazy.
He was like, no, I'm not going to. You selectively took me for this position until I decide to step down. I'm not stepping down. And they go, then we are going to kick you from this guild.
Damn.
And he was like, fine, whatever. I'll step down. And
now is the esports org, is it this toxic?
It almost was before I stepped back in and got my shit together.
That's crazy. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. So then he steps down. The next person up, which is the leader of my new guild, steps up, takes a spot, and someone moves up. So then they're selecting sub seats at this time, and he gets told by council, this dude, his game's name's Jace, okay? That's his character's name.
Mm-hmm.
And Jace gets told, you will select this chick for council. And he's like, but it's my choice. And she goes, the chick that did all, like, the chick that we all hate and have that very specific name for, tells him, no, you are going to put this person on your council. And he goes, why? What has she done for me? Because I was going to pick so-and-so, but because they've done more than her. And she goes, no, you're going to select this person. End of discussion. So he was forced to put this person on their council when he did not want to.
That's crazy. Can I tell you that I won't say this person's name, but I was having a conversation with someone recently who came from the WoW community, who was like a very, very hardcore, like very good, like endgame raider, and for years had to pretend like they were a dude. Sincerely had to pretend like they were a dude because they were just straight kicking chicks out of raid groups. Like that apparently was a thing. Like that's crazy. We're talking like the opposite of like a what I'll say it, what I would consider like an e-girl, right? Or something like that, right? Like with someone who like was really, really good at the game, right? Like, and had to specifically hide the fact they were a lady, like, because like basically chicks were getting dropped left and right around them because they were chicks. That's crazy. Like, that's crazy.
That's so sexist.
Yeah, that's so crazy. But that's the thing, right? Like, but it's funny because like we all joke about like, oh, whatever. You always joke about shit or whatever. And then like you actually like, you're like, damn, you talk to someone who like has that perspective, you know what I mean? And they've seen it and it's just crazy, man. Like,
yes.
But,
so then the chick that got put on council was the same one that got the other guy kicked. And she basically does the same thing on council. Selectively screenshots stuff, sends them to people, and basically gets word around. And they're secretly talking about it in the rest of the council. And then his Padawan, which was the one he was going to put on council originally, basically he gets a message from somebody else who left the guild on good terms and wanted to come back. And basically tried to get them to come back and was told, you need to like slow your roll. You're stepping boundaries that you shouldn't be stepping over. And he's like, where is this coming from? If this is such a big deal, then why haven't I been told about it? And then, the chick goes, oh, no, you just, what, fuck it, whatever. You're kicked. And kicks her. Kicks him. And at that point, he's like, just straight up.
Yeah.
And then it's a war from there on at this point.
That's so
he sits
stupid.
there and he's texting one of the council members on a different side and saying, oh, I know so-and-so is telling you to tell them stuff, but go ahead and tell them this. Tell them that she is a so-and-so, 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 which is the name I would not call her.
Yeah.
I would not say on your podcast.
It's all good, yeah.
That, I know everything about your ERP. I've known serious, like she sends the dude like screenshots to send to her. And she's just like, I totally just fucked up. And then when basically this person never put slander on that guild. Never.
Yeah, well, that's a lot of energy. That's like a lot of energy to put into like that. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Just why? Why even bother? You know what I mean? Like, that's a lot of energy. Just don't. Yeah.
When he was kicked, He went all out on that council.
Yeah,
And then
that's
when our school, the Guardian Schools Council, found out that he was kicked, the subseat went off. I was never there, but I was told that it was the funniest yet most serious moment that they have ever seen come from this dude. This dude went the fuck off. Started like accusing people of stuff, saying this, saying that, calling people names. And dude, at this point, he's just pissed. He's like, "You do not kick the best player in this guild without consulting the whole council." Basically, is what he did.
That's crazy, man. I
Then,
thought the raiding community ESO was toxic. Jesus Christ.
no, the RP community in SWTOR is even worse. And then he goes, "You know what? Screw this." He goes, "F all y'all. I am out." G quits right there. In the middle of a big RP event with 40 plus people on.
Damn, you know what's funny is I always joke about like RP people are a bunch of like pussies who like tiptoe in the posies.
Yeah.
But like, y'all are some savages. God damn.
We are.
Y'all are some savages, man. I always joke, I'm like, why don't you RP walk your ass across Craglorn, bitch? And like, damn, y'all are some savages. That's crazy. Jesus Christ.
Our headmaster.
I ain't messing with y'all no more.
What's going on? And he goes, "Hold up. Y'all just kicked him? My Padawan? You know, you're just going to kick that person without even consulting me? There's no council post about it. There's no council vote. There's nothing. You just kick this person?"
That's
he goes,
crazy.
"Fuck this. I'm out." And leaves
That's crazy.
And then once everybody sees that the whole Guardian Council left, basically, everybody starts pouring out. Everybody starts G quitting. They're like, "No, we're not going to be a part of this. That was the powerhouse of the guild. We don't." And basically, 2 weeks later, they get in contact with that first guy that was kicked,
Mm-hmm.
and he goes, "Well, I need to tell y'all something now that you're out of that guild and whatnot." Sends them the recording of what actually happened in his event. That's basically the reason he got kicked. And they're like, "What the fuck? Why didn't you say this? Why didn't you send us this? Why didn't you tell us? This could have saved you." He was like, "Because at that time, there's just so much going on. It would have made the situation worse, and I didn't want that on y'all."
Yeah, that whole thing sounds like drama. That's like, yeah, like I said, that's a lot of energy and effort to put into like just meaningless shit. I mean, it's not meaningless, but it is. You know what I mean? It's just go put that energy somewhere else. I don't know. I don't do that shit. If I have that kind of drama going down, I'll just unplug all this shit and just start like editing YouTube video. You know, I just don't. I don't with that nonsense.
Yeah,
that's like that. That's like that situation I told you about a while, before we started this. Like, I just walk away from that kind of shit now. I just walk away from it. I won't even bother with it. I'll just do something else.
Yeah. But basically, the two people on that council that left, then that guy, and then the person that got kicked that was, Jason's Padawan, basically got together, created a guild, and that's the guild I'm in today. And so far,
that's crazy.
They have been 100% open with us. Literally, they had one guy steal stuff from our guild bank, and they told us, they're like, "Look, all right, leadership meeting. So-and-so stole stuff from the guild bank. This is what they stole. We ain't gonna lie to you."
Damn, that's crazy. Yeah, people do that in ESO, though. They ban you in ESO if you do that. They'll ban you in ESO if they can prove that you stole stuff and you didn't just like withdraw stuff. You know what I mean? Like if they can look in their logs or whatever and prove it, they'll ban you for it. ESO will. Yeah.
But no, the reason why that guy got kicked from our new guild is the first one that we ever kicked from the new guild. Was because he originally had taken RP ideas to a new guild and then gave them our ideas, and our guild master basically whispered them and was like, "Hey, where'd y'all get that from?" He goes, "Oh, so and so gave it to us." And they're like, "Well, that's funny because me speaking as the guild master, which I'm not, but you know what I'm saying, sat there and was like, well, that's funny because I made all that. I personally writ all that. I personally published it. I personally did all this with it." And he's like, that's strange because, so-and-so gave us that information. And he was like, our guild master was like, "What's their legacy name? Because their character's name doesn't sound familiar." And they go, "Oh, the legacy name so-and-so." And he was like, "Yeah, we know who that is."
So that's funny.
So basically, they had a talk with him. Basically, it was like, hey, this is a very serious situation, but we want you to understand that we're giving you another chance. If you mess up again, you're gone. Because we were trying to be more sincere than the last guild was. Because if they were to do something in that last guild like that, they would gone right in the heartbeat. So basically, a week or two went by after that, and basically we assume he felt really shameful for what he did.
Mm-hmm.
And he basically told everybody, was like, hey, I'm no longer going to be RPing with y'all. I'm going to be going to another guild, and this and that. Literally that day, he stole stuff from the guild bank and left. Or he didn't
crazy.
leave the guild, but he basically gave up on the character, never logged back into it, and they came to a council decision where they sent him a Discord message saying, hey, you're gone from the guild. This is why. You fucked up. You know, if you want to come back later on in better terms, and then we'll talk about it. But right now, for the next 3 months, you're banned from this guild.
That's crazy, dude. Yeah, I don't. Well, I guess like if you, I guess like in your esports world though, like I guess because we're talking about earlier. I guess the contracts would sort of not preclude you. That's not the word I'm looking for, but it would like that probably like prevents a lot of the like poaching and just the bullshit and all the drama because it's like you're under contract, you ain't go do that. Well, there's money involved too, which makes people act correct.
Yeah,
but,
and it's yeah, it's a lot of shit.
Yeah, like you want to get somebody to act right. Tell them you're gonna disrupt their income. Tell them you're gonna disrupt their income. That'll make people act right quick. That's crazy. That's so crazy. Yeah. But that game. So like, what? Like, is that game? Like, is there any new expansions coming out or anything for SWTOR? Like, did they still
comes out on the 22nd of this month?
They still support that game? That's crazy. A game has been out a while, man. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, they gave up on the game for a while when they were creating Destiny 2, I think it was.
Okay.
Because we're in what's the new EA game that came out?
Well, EA split from Destiny.
That's what it was then.
Well, they split from Destiny, but EA technically makes Apex.
No, it was before that.
Technically, well, they don't make Apex. I think they publish Apex. They publish Apex, but I think it's not Obsidian, is it? I can't remember who it is. I can't remember who it is who makes. Somebody in the comments will hammer me for not knowing this, although I don't play the game. But basically, yeah, EA publishes. So EA publishes Apex, and they're not doing Destiny anymore. And I'm trying to think what the EA game was. It just came. I don't remember.
I want to say it was Destiny 2 when it was in production. They pulled people from Star Wars, the Old Republic, to go and work on Destiny. So content for our game dropped like drastically. So we went from having this really nice development team that was mainly fucking inside, which kills all us Republic players. Because I don't know if any of y'all play that are watching, but just like in Star Wars, the factions are split into two. You have the Republic and then you have the Imperial. And we've obviously seen by the stuff they've came out with the game, the strongholds, which are basically your homes you can decorate, the armor sets, the lightsabers, stuff like that. It's all Sith and Imperial based. So all the devs are all Sith and Imperial based.
Weird. Why don't they put out I guess it would be like what, Republic, I guess?
Yeah.
Why don't they put out that's so strange.
Yeah, it's just like we're able as players to customize them and make them look like Republic outfits, but that's just a lot of work and a lot of money that some of us don't really want to put into.
That's strange. Like they're like precluding a piece of their audience. That's so weird.
Yeah.
Whatever, I guess. Yeah, that's
But yeah, so then we had lost a lot of the development team for this game. So content just stopped for a while. I want to say about for those 2 years, it just stopped. And then right around the time I got kicked from that guild back in February, they had just came out with what they call the Ausis update. And the Ausis update basically came out with the prequel, like the epilogue or whatever it's called, to the new expansion that's coming out. And none of us knew that expansion was coming out until we played that. They were like, so is there a new expansion or something like that? And literally 2 days after that update came out, they tweeted, they tweeted out on their official page on Twitter, along the lines of like, yes, your answers are correct, or your guesses are correct. There will be a new expansion coming soon. And I was like, hell yeah, that's cool as shit. It was scheduled for early September, and then they pushed it back. Because all the date was saying was just early September. And then they pushed it back finally to an official date of oh Jesus Christ, October 22nd.
So are they gonna like, are they do? I mean, I know it's old, like, I'm trying to think. SWTOR is Old Republic. Yeah, it's the Old Republic. So like, are they gonna? Can they do anything that ties in with the movie that's coming out? Can they do anything? I'm like, I don't.
They do like decorations for your houses.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I could see that. Okay.
They're able to do that because like a lot of it's like I have this one armor set from SWTOR, and not SWTOR, from the new Solo movie that came out not too long ago.
Yeah.
I have an armor set from the Rebels TV show.
Okay.
So yeah, they're able to.
Yeah, because you can't fuck around too much, man. Star Wars people and their lore, like, you can't. It's like Elder Scrolls, like, they put dragons in this game and everyone like freaked the fuck. Everyone was like, what the fuck? Fuck do you mean there's dragons? And it's like, all right, calm down, sweaty ass nerd. Jesus Christ, please.
But no, like, so before they pulled people from the development team for Star Wars, they came out with these 2 expansions called, I'm gonna get butchered for saying this, but it was Knights of the Eternal Throne, then shit, I gotta look this up. I'm in game right now. There's a way to open this menu that I don't know how to open it. Chapters, that's what it is.
Sounds like you should learn to play.
Okay. So we have Knights of the Fallen Empire, and then we have Knights of the Eternal Throne, I think it is. Oh wait, hold up. Okay. So yeah, it's Knights of the Fallen Empire, and then Knights of the and basically what that expansion came out with was that a empire from the Outer Rim, unknown territories, came in and basically demolished the galaxy. They took over, and this was never in lore. This was never in the EU. This is basically strictly they came up with it.
Weird. It kind of sounds like the Yuzon Vong. I don't know if you ever read that series.
Yeah,
that's kind of what it sounds like. That's weird.
But come to find out, you find out that the emperor of that random empire that came out of nowhere is the fallen emperor from the Sith Empire. He transferred his essence, Palpatine style, into a whole another body.
Wait, you're not talking about Darth Bane, are you?
No.
Because that was always the rumor, is he did that.
No, so it was Emperor Vitiate.
Okay.
Transferred his essence into a different body and named himself Valkorion, and for the last 100 years has been building up this empire.
That's always been the rumor with that's always been the rumor that's what Palpatine did too.
Yeah.
Like, he basically he learned that from
Plagueis.
Plagueis, yeah, that he learned that from Plagueis. They even talked about it in the movie, like that whole cheat death thing. Yeah, that's really interesting.
But basically, he basically split his force essence into 2, and then was able to stay in his body. But his body was literally sitting in a chair just like this the whole time, and his face was wrapped up, so you couldn't see his face. For all you know, it could have been a droid. But they made it out to be it was just him in this force essence and this body leading the empire, when really it was just somebody his right hand was leading the empire. While the majority of his essence was over and in the body of Valkorion, constructing this new empire and everything and whatnot.
That's really cool. Although, is that canon for like the series? I was gonna say, because that has implications. I'm a huge Star Wars fan, guys. I was like, wait, that has implications. There's a lot of implications if that's the case. Like, because I can't think. And I'm sure someone would kill me in the comments on this, but I can't think of a specific time in the canon now where someone was able to jump bodies like that. That's not a thing. That's not a thing that I can think.
Right now is not a thing.
Yeah.
Palpatine did that.
Yeah, and Darth Bane may or may not have done that. They should have fucked around with it. And like, there's like, there was a, I want to say it was a holocron, or what was the damn, anyway, yeah, there basically was like this crystal device thing. I think it was a holocron where like a bunch of souls were captured, and like Darth Bane like blows that up. It was like in a temple. But yeah, that sounds really interesting, man. That's cool.
But yeah, so then they after that they do a couple updates here and there because of the small development team they had. They sat there and they created basically like 4-man, what we called it flashpoints. They were called dungeons, whatnot, whatever you want to call them in other games. And basically came out with the story. Basically grew off with that, and in the Ossus update, they basically said, okay, you now have the power of the Eternal, what is now called the Alliance, or still the Eternal Empire, depending on what faction you chose. And at that point, it really wasn't faction based anymore. It was more your character based. So you could be a Sith, a Sith, and choose, okay, I'm gonna go with light side options, and you become the Eternal Alliance. So I mean, that part of it was pretty damn cool, I personally think. But story wise, they fucked shit up. And then they sit there and they go, okay, so the time has come. We now have the full power of the Eternal Alliance. Where do we go from now? It's time we choose. We've gotten the traitor out the way, so on and so forth. That was part of the story. So do you go to the Empire, or do you go to the Alliance? And from there on, they're now bringing it back into summarization that it's now going to go back to Republic versus Empire, and they're going to fix the story because their development team fucked shit up while they were gone.
Okay. Damn, dude, that's wild, man.
Yeah.
So much of just things. Jesus Christ. Yeah, dude, I don't know. And on top of all that, you're running an esports org too. That's wild, man. That is crazy. And there's like, yeah, dude, you're fucking busy, man. Dude, now do you?
Job too?
Yeah, I'm the same way, man. Do you? I don't remember. Do you like you have a YouTube page, but do you update it? I mean, do you put a lot of stuff on there?
I try. I have caught some content coming at some point.
Okay.
I don't know when exactly, but some stuff will be coming. I think honestly, my last upload is probably my birthday vlog I did. But yeah, then yeah, I think that was the last thing I uploaded on there. I'm trying to get the ops group put back together so that way I can start recording that stuff again, maybe streaming it, maybe uploading it. Haven't decided yet. Stay tuned to find out.
Yeah. Well, shit, man, that's wild, dude.
I'm trying to find a good time to return back to Twitch. I just don't know when yet. I'm lost.
Well, shit, man. Well, I think that'll probably wrap it for us, man. That'll probably wrap it, man. But where can we find you, man?
So you can hit my Twitter up at Ensomn. I got my Twitch, which is at Ensomn still, or I think that's Ensomn X on there. I'll send everything to Zah. He'll put it in the description.
Yeah, I'll put all the links down below.
Yeah. I will say this right now. If you are a World of Warcraft PvP player, a Smite player, an Apex player looking for an esports team, come to me. I'll give him my business email so y'all can email me.
I'll put it it'll be in the link down below. You guys can find it down there. Yeah, definitely hit this man up. He's really serious. Like every time I talk to him, he's like, man, I got this thing. It's going on with this esports. I got this thing. We're doing this thing. Like always, man. This guy's always pushing. Forward, man. But yeah, man, thanks so much for coming by, man. I appreciate you. You guys know you can find me. You guys obviously know where to find me. Berserker_Zod at twitch.tv, and you can find everything on my website, www.berserkzod.com. You can find all my socials there. All my YouTube stuff is there. All my Twitch stuff is there. But yeah, man, again, thanks to Ensomn for coming, man. And thanks for listening or watching this episode, Tamriel College episode 3. Episode 4 is coming either late this week or next week. I'm gonna have Danielle the Red, who's like one of my best friends on. And I will see you guys then. Bye, nerds. Bye.
Later.